Hey everyone, I'm Tim Holtz and I am here at Sizzix, and I'm really excited because I have the opportunity to share my new holiday release with you. And the best part is that I get to take you through some of my favorite projects and hopefully give you some ideas of how to kind of jazz up your holiday creativity. So let's take a look at, I have a whole bunch of samples, so that's what we're going to take a look at. So this one, I really like this. This is a Thinlit die, and this cuts a holiday knit pattern. And what's cool about this is that these are individual Thinlit dies. So when you die cut this, you can create your own crazy holiday sweater. What we've done for this card is just cut out of cardstock the actual pattern and laid this over a piece of white felt and then just stitch right through it. Really simple, but I think a very cool textured and layered card. One of my favorites. If you're not into all that detail because maybe you have to make hundreds of holiday cards, this one is very simple. This is just using the Season's Greetings script texture fade and embossed on metallic cardstock. So cool just to see that kind of luminous reflective shine on cardstock, but really simple, just using an embossing folder for that. I like it. Now, kind of a throwback to some of the earlier launches, because one of the things that I think is important as a designer is to have the designs be timeless as possible, where you can use them again and again. So this one, this uses the silhouettes of the carolers. This is die cut out of grunge board, and then we've used one of the decorative strips just to lay that on there. So sometimes if you don't want to do a lot of detail or coloring or anything like that, you can just simply cut that out of black cardstock or even grunge board in this case, just to create a simple silhouette. Man, talk about detail. This one's really great though. I love the look of this because we're using a lot of different products here. We're using our texture fade in the background, that same holiday knit. Now this is an embossing folder that is very similar to that thin die. So if you don't want to go through all of the die cutting, but maybe you want to just use your embossing folders, you can get that same look. And then we've layered them with other dies like the ornament or this really great holiday script, just to make a really fun and festive card, which I like. Now this one, this is one of the new ones. So cool. This is the layered wings. So you can see here, these wings, this is a steel rule die. And the nice thing about a steel rule die is we can cut thick things like metal and chipboard and grunge board and really create this layered look. And you can use this for ornaments or package toppers, or in this case, on a card. So here you can see that this is some metallic foil and some mica kind of layered over the top. And then you see that new handwritten holidays, all that, but really dresses up a card. So if you're not into the traditional red and green and you want to go with the more kind of regal metallic, this is a real great option for that. How about this one? Really fun, really simple, but this uses the new Scribbles. So there's a whole set of different holiday scribbles where you can scribble the trees or scribble the ornaments, but I like this one because it's fun and whimsical and really simple. And I think one of the things that I really wanted to share with all of these projects is just to show you that as a crafter, it depends on your time. Maybe those special people are going to get the more detailed projects, or maybe you want to, knock out 10 or 12 of these because these are really quick and very simple to do. So that's why hopefully throughout this you'll get a lot of inspiration on that. But I like this. Here we just added a little flash card, layered it over some pattern paper, simple card. This one's really nice too because this is showing a different way that you can dress up your embossing folders. So this back design, this is actually the Sparkles texture fade, and all we've done is gone over with a little bit of Stickles glitter glue just to highlight those sparkles. So you can see a real simple watercolor background, but all that little kind of sparkle in that glitter, that's just using some glitter glue over the pattern that's already in your texture fade. So remember, you can use that kind of as a jump start of creating a background. And here we've just taken that block style of the holiday words, cut that out of metallic cardstock and layered it over the Ideology deco sheet, which is kind of that glittery background, but still really nice and really simple. I like the detail of the stitching, but again, if you're not much into sewing, you could easily stick this down with glue or double stick tape. Now, another one of my favorites are these giant words. So this Handwritten Believe is excellent for big projects. Here, we've done this on a much larger card. So these big cards are sometimes really important, especially if you like to include a holiday letter or family photo in with your Christmas cards. So here's just layered over a background. You can see that scribble star, that tree that I showed you earlier. This scribble star is part of that set. But this Believe, because it's a steel rule die, allows me to cut much thicker things. So I can layer a lot of different things using that die. So in addition to this card, I want to share kind of this mixed media one. I love this one. This is that same die, but here we've cut this out of grunge board. So you can see it's much thicker on here, but this will allow you to use your dies on craft projects as well. So if you're doing things, maybe you want to create some decor pieces, you want to do something for the house, or maybe you want to make some gifts. These type of dies, when you think, why do I want a steel rule die? Well, it does allow you to cut much thicker things, and that's why as a designer, I design thin dies as well as thick. I love that. Put that back, makes a really nice backdrop. All right, let's get into, you want to talk detail? Look at this one. This has a whole lot going on, but it's a beautiful card. Probably wouldn't make 50 of these, but it's always worth making one for that very special person. But here you can see a really nice, simple color palette, but it incorporates so many different things. Here's that beautiful shadow press that you can see in the background just on the white cardstock, how clean and subtle that is. And then we've gone over this with some metallic cardstock just to create that script effect. We've added just some shredded kind of tissue paper and some ribbon down there just to kind of dress that up a little bit. And then we've got that prancing deer. Really nice as the focal point. This is just cut out of very thick watercolor cardstock, inked a little bit, and then 3D'd on there with foam tape. And then up here you can see we added some of those snowflakes. That's also from the steel rule die and just layered on top of it. But really nice. I mean, you could use this as a card, but also this is a frameable piece. You know, you give it to someone, they put it in a picture frame, hang it in their house. So it's really nice to give people some gift ideas as well as using them on cards. Speaking of layering, this guy, Saint Nick, he was one of my favorites. So we launched this guy last year and he's still around this year. So if you didn't pick him up last year, you definitely may want to get him this year. But he's really fun because all of these individual components, it's a steel rule die, so you can cut this out of mat board or chipboard. But I love the way that you can 3D and layer it. And he just has such a smile on his face, which I really like. So just has that little kind of touch of whimsy. And you can see here that merry and bright. Because it's a Thinlit die and because it is that script font, it allows you to also curve it, because if you cut it out of cardstock, it becomes very flexible. So you don't always have to have things going straight across your cards. Remember, because it's cardstock, as you stick this down, just stretch that paper a little bit just to create that arch effect, which I think is really clever. But I love just adding things like twisted chenille stems for your candy canes and then dress it up with a little bit of the greens on there. And then you can see up here, this is just the texture fade of that snowfall that makes for a nice background. Now, Angelic, really beautiful die, very simple. So there again, if you're not into spending a lot of time creating your cards, you can take something just as simple as a shape like this and add it to a card. So here it's over some background paper. We added just a couple of word stickers and make a simple little bow and poinsettia die. But that's really nice if you're going for some simple cards. And this is one of those easel pop-up cards, so we can just fold that up and kind of tuck it right in there, and it makes for a really nice display. But a simple way that you can take just cardstock and completely change how your card is displayed. This is another new die. This is a really very detailed tree, especially for Bigz. This again is a steel rule die, but we've layered this over that ornate frame. And I really like how that kind of frames in that piece. Speaking of piece, you can see the word peace on there, which is one of the handwritten holidays. But I think it's so important that you really understand the potential of dies. And that's what I love about designing for Sizzix, is that you have a shape and how you treat it and dress it up really can transform your creative project in any way that you can imagine. Because this is very traditional, but if I cut this out of white cardstock and layered it with blues and metallics, it could be a wintry one just as easy. Like this. You can see here that we've taken just that beautiful new Thinlit tree shape and layered it over some light blue inked cardstock. And we added the title in there, Let It Snow. So again, we're taking just very common shapes, but how you treat it and how you layer it onto the paper is what really transforms your projects. Added a little tinsel twine to that, and it just makes for a really great card. So those are some of my favorite card ideas, but of course there's other ways that we can incorporate dies as well. So I wanted to share this idea with you. So this is just taking a mini mason jar. Let me spin that around here. And what I've done inside is just added one of the little woodland trees. There's some glitter in there, so it makes for a little snow globe. But up here, we've just taken our dies and just die cut that little card. And this is clipped right onto the top. So you can use this as a place card setting for a holiday dinner. It makes a great gift for teachers or neighbors. You can also incorporate a photo. So if you wanted to use it as a family photo holder, all I've done here, smoke and mirrors, I'll reveal, is I've just taken just a long machine screw and just put that right through the lid and just attached it. Place my paper, and this is just using one of those Ideology hinge clips, and that's just clipped right onto the top, and that allows you just to easily add it. Pretty cool, pretty simple. And then of course we're going to go over to one of my favorites this year, and that is this entire village series. And so what I've done is designed a steel rule die that starts out, and it looks pretty complex, but there's videos online, there's a lot of tutorials to show you how to build these. But the base right here is this dwelling. And what this is actually a steel rule die that cuts out all of the pieces that you need to create this three-dimensional dwelling. It's got the walls, the roof, the dormer, the chimney, the porch, everything. And you can see that you can dress it up a lot of different ways. And there are some really cool overlays that are coming out all next year as well. So we started with the basic dwelling, but what we've added to this is what we refer to as the village winter, which is just another Bigz die that adds this winter overlay, the detailed icicles that you can see around the house, the little layers of dripping snow. That is a separate die that you can buy to dress up the dwelling. So once you have kind of that base foundation, you're gonna have the option to buy different Bigz dies to totally transform that dwelling into something else. Like this. The one at the top that is this church, all we've done is we've added the village bell tower. That's another separate die that by cutting that out, it fits that same dwelling. So you can see here it's the same building, but adding that bell tower can totally transform this into a church, which would be great not only for Christmas, but if you want to do this for a wedding centerpiece, that would be really great. Or if you completely change the color and turn this into red and brick, it could be an old-fashioned schoolhouse. So there's a lot of different ways that you can dress this up, and trust me, there's some great ideas coming your way. So I hope you enjoyed this little run through of my holiday line with Sizzix. I hope you get a lot of ideas and are inspired to just let the festivities begin with your holiday creativity.